Hey everybody. Today we're going to look into some bracing. And the braces, the way I think of them, are an important part of how the guitar top works. So not only do we need to tune the top of the guitar for flexibility, but we need some braces to help us unify the guitar. I think the braces help unify the guitar, particularly the behavior of the guitar, particularly in the low frequency areas, the bass end of the guitar. And as you can see, here's a guitar with a brace that's been carved and another brace that's glued in but is still oversized and needs to be carved. And this is the style of bracing that I'm using now in my guitars, where instead of a half lap joint, one brace just bridges over the other, which is something that I think works well and is a good idea. So when I tune the braces, I'm flexing the top, primarily flexing, not so much listening, but trying to understand how the braces are changing the stiffness of the top. And I judge that by the stiffness along the brace, in other words, diagonal stiffness, and also by comparing that to the cross-grain stiffness and the longitudinal stiffness. Anyway, we'll talk more about this when we get to carving tops, arching and carving tops. But today, we're going to put some braces in this nice top here, and so here we go. So this is my carving nest that I use for carving and shaping the guitar. It holds the guitar equally well, right side up or upside down. This is a piece of really cool red spruce that I like very much, and has a really sweet, happy low tap tone. Anyhow, this nest is carved from, it's a foam product with paper on both sides. It's pretty sturdy stuff. It's designed to make outdoor signs, and I buy it in 1.5 inch thick sheets, and then I use it for carving nests because it's easy to carve and shape in the same setup that I do the rough carving on the plates. So this gives me a nice nest that supports the top evenly while I'm going to be fitting the braces. And just a little bit more about this fixture. Here are some hold downs that I use all over the place, really, not just here. And so this is just a piece of threaded rod that screws into an insert in the bottom of the tool. And this is a strap clamp, an arrangement that I made that helps me hold down the plate so that it doesn't shift while I'm working on it. And it's got a soft pad here, a hard pad on this end, and a little piece of threaded rod in the tool. They work really well to keep the plate from shifting around while we're working on it. So we'll make sure the plate's on center. And let me show you this other part of the tool here. And these parts I only used during this bracing operation. This is just a chunk of material that bolts up to the guitar and allows me to position the brace wherever I want it, the brace end. And these are really important because although it's not the only way to do it, it's a convenient way to make sure that the brace goes into the same position every time you put it you put it in for marking or fitting. This way, the brace is controlled in length because I've cut it precisely to fit into these positioning blocks, and it also I have thinned the ends of it so that they slip in and out of these blocks without a lot of friction, so that I can count on every time I put the brace back in here, it goes in exactly the same place. There are other ways of doing this. Some people like to tack little blocks to the top with hide glue, which are then removed. Just seems like an unnecessary step for me when these are so easy to arrange. And as you can imagine, all you need to do is make new blocks here, and you could position the brace any old way you like. And there's also a screw that holds this down so that I won't really need it today, but if I'm taking a heavy cut on the guitar in this nest, I can crank it so that the nest is rigid and nicely clamped to the bench. So now I'm going to use a pencil to roughly mark, well, I'll do the best job I can, but to mark the brace for a rough cut on the bandsaw that'll get me pretty close, and it'll prepare the brace for marking with this other tool, which will give us the precise size and shape. Okay, over to the bandsaw. Okay, so now we can see how we did here. Well, that's pretty good. Certainly close enough. A little bump here we could take off. Okay, so there we are in the ballpark. We'll do the second brace. So this little simple tool is a piece of ballpoint pen, and its job is to make a nice clean line on the brace. And this is going to help us fit the brace exactly. So just making sure that the pen is working and it's adjusted properly. Now I'm going to put tape on the guitar to make sure to protect this surface that I'm going to be working on. I don't want to have trouble getting the tape off. Modern tapes can be unexpectedly aggressive and pull fibers out if you're not careful. So what I like to do is this. Which makes sure that it's not too sticky. Okay. And we'll do that again. Okay, so now we want to make sure that we don't move this brace while we're marking it. Okay, so we're now ready to mark the brace with this nice tool. And we'll mark on both sides. Okay. All right, so one of the big challenges in fitting a brace like this is that the surface is a very complex shape. It twists here and then straightens out in the middle, and then it twists this way. So what we're going to do now is take another bandsaw cut, and we'll get pretty close to this line. It's important, because it's twisted, that we determined which side we're going to cut on. In other words, we're going to honor whichever line is closer. So you can see, because of the twist of this plate, this line is closer to the bottom of our first cut than that line. All right, so this line is closer. So we're going to cut on this side from here to the middle, and then we're going to flip it over, and we're going to cut on the other side in order to be safe and not cut this line. Okay? So now that we've made this cut, it's a little bit easier to see what I was just talking about, which is that we cut from this side and you see we left just a little bit of material, but when you look on the other side, there's a lot more. And same thing on this side where we cut, it's just a little material, and then here, there's more. So that's fine. And now we're gonna try and split this line on both sides. Okay, because we've taken the care to mark in a very accurate way, and we can depend that these lines are just about perfect so far as the final shape of the brace is concerned. And we will also, right now, make a mark here to show us about where the brace is going to end, which I'm just eyeballing for now. And then that means also that this line will come a little bit farther. And likewise here. You know, this isn't really performance art, is it? Okay.